Welcome back, and we are about a month into the NBA season, so I thought it would be a good time to give you a power rankings video of where I think teams are standing now and going forward. This isn't exactly where I think they'll end up at the end of the year, but from what I've seen this year so far, and if it's sustainable going forward, then this is where I think the power rankings are standing right now. So 30 to 1, we'll go worst to first, build up make it climatic. And the worst team in the league right now is the Houston Rockets. I think the Houston Rockets are the worst team in the NBA right now with a record of 1-11 with their breaking stars Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. kind of struggling so far. I just don't think they're going to be able to do a whole lot for the rest of the season. I think they're going to be pretty bad for the whole year. Looking to win the lottery. Nothing else, you're really looking forward to this team. Just going to be bad. The worst team in the league. Coming in at number 29, the New Orleans Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans have been dealing with injury. They lost Lonzo Ball in free agency. And like I said, injuries, Brandon Ingram, Zion out with injuries. Brandon Ingram should be returning somewhat soon. Zion, we have no idea when he's going to be returning. He should have returned by now, but they keep pushing it back and back and back. And Jonas Valanciunas is kind of the only guy on that team right now that is able to put the ball in the basket. And I think he might even be a trade piece coming the trade deadline. They might look to deal him. So 29th worst team, looking really, really bad right now. Don't think they'll get a whole lot better. Number 29, New Orleans Pelicans. And then I have Detroit basketball coming in at number 28 with a record of 3-9. Cade Cunningham and Killian Hayes have not been able to rack up the wins so far. I think that they are the worst team in the Eastern Conference, sitting at second to last right now. But I think they will fall. Killian Hayes has been pretty poor this year so far. Cade Cunningham's gotten out to a slow start. So, and not really dealing with a whole lot of injuries. They're just super young, not going to be very good. So, number 28, the Detroit Pistons. Coming in at number 27, we have the Orlando Magic. Now, I think the Magic are in a good place going forward. They have a good problem. They have too many point guards that are all playing too well. So, they got to figure out what they're doing there. They're just not racking up a whole lot of wins, and currently the worst team in the Eastern Conference. So not a whole lot to talk about. Magic are bad. Coming in at number 26, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder is a team we knew were going to be bad going forward. A lot of draft capital. You see the jokes looking for like 4-year-old kids in the draft. Just not racking up a whole lot of wins. Not a whole lot to say. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Lou Dort have been really good this year. Lou Dort actually just won them the game a couple days ago against the Sacramento Kings. So they're just going to be bad this year. And then number 25, the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs have been bad, but they have been playing against the Mavericks about 3 times this year. So, when you're playing against one of the better teams in the league, as much as they have, it's going to be hard. So, Sacramento Kings are the next team up at number 24, and they have also been the most disappointing team in the league, in my opinion. They have so much talent, and they're just not able to do anything with it. De'Aaron Fox has gone off to a slow start. Luke Walton's still your head coach. So, how good can you really be? Number 23, the Indiana Pacers. Now, I think the Indiana Pacers are going to rattle off some wins here pretty soon. Looking at strength of schedule, they have had the 3rd hardest strength of schedule so far. But they're also having some trouble closing games. Chris Duarte has been really surprising. Sabonis has been good. Miles Turner's been good. Good-ish. He's been off and on. But I think they're a team that can rattle off some wins here pretty soon and kind of push themselves back into the play-in conversation because they're out of it right now. Number 22, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Another one of the most disappointing teams in the league so far. You have had big games from Anthony Edwards, big games from Cat. And they beat the Lakers a couple days ago. Pretty good win for them. But they're sitting at 4-8 right now, which is good for 12th in the Western Conference. And that's kind of why I have them at 22. Just a whole lot of talent, not being able to do a whole lot with it. At number 21, I have the Portland Trailblazers. The Portland Trailblazers are struggling. Damian Lillard has been struggling. Now he's picked it up a little bit the past 2 games. But the 3-point shot's not falling. Dame has been dealing with injuries. He's came out and said he's dealing with injuries. Anthony Simons has looked good, but they're just not able to put a whole lot of wins together. But if Dame is able to keep figuring it out slowly, then I think that will push them farther up into a better team, in the 10s to a high 10s, low 20s range, kind of like where they are now, but a little bit higher. They'll be a little bit higher if Dame is able to pick it up, fighting for a play-in to a playoff spot if Damian Lillard is able to figure it out. Now at number 20 is one of the more surprising teams with the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks have been pretty bad this year. They've choked a lot of leads, and right now they are sitting at 4-9, which is good for 13th in the Eastern Conference. Sorry, they've had the hardest strength of schedule so far, and I think when they all start working it out, chemistry wise, and Trey is able to get back to where Trey Young was last year, they'll be pushed up into like the 10 to 15 range in a pretty good playoff spot. I think they'll figure it out. Personally, I think it's just a matter of time. Boston Celtics, I have at number 19. Tatum has been struggling. They're dealing with the Jaylen Brown being out for a pretty good amount of time so far this season. They've just been bad offensively all around. You've had the Marcus Smart quote. Dennis Schroeder's been playing pretty well as of recent, so that's a positive. But they're just not being able to, put a whole bunch of wins together right now. Sitting at 6-7, which is good for 10th, which is a play-in spot. But it's kind of disappointing for the Boston Celtics to be at 19, based on where we thought they would be coming into the year. At number 18, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks have been riddled with injuries this year, so I'm not putting a whole bunch of stock into it right now. They just choked a really big lead to the New York Knicks about a week ago. So they're sitting at 6-7 right now, good for 11th in the East, but like I said, riddled with injuries. Chris Middleton, Drew, Brook Lopez has been out. Giannis has been as good as Giannis can be, but I'm not really putting a whole lot of stock into it. I think they'll figure it out, and when the injuries come, or when the injuries stop, and when Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday come back. So I think it's just a matter of time before they're in the 1-5 range in this power rankings. At number 17, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, who have dropped 3 straight games as I'm recording this by 10-plus points, and they are terrible defensively right now. 29th in defensive rating. Now, John Morant has been as good as John Morant has been all year. He's been highlight reel after highlight reel, putting up insane numbers, but they're struggling to win games at the moment. So right now I have them at 17. I think they could push back into the play-in to play-off range, but sitting right now at a record of 6-7, I think they've been pretty middle of the pack, as 17 would convey. The Toronto Raptors, I have coming in at number 16. Fred VanVleet has been dealing with injuries right now. They've dropped a few games. They're on a little bit of a skid right now. But OG Anunoby's been really good. Everyone loves talking about Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes has been debatably the best rookie so far. So 16, I think, is the right place for them right now. I think they could fall, and I think they could rise. I'm just not very sure what this team is capable of, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they are capable of, because they do have what looks like a very talented young prospect in Scotty Barnes. OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet have all been good. Pascal Siakam's coming back from injury. So where they will fall in like a week to another month will be up for debate. Charlotte Hornets, I have at number 15, dead center. Recovering from a 5-game losing streak right now, still missing PJ Washington. It seems like they've been a lot better at home than they have been on the road. Now I know that's pretty common, but it seems like they need to fill it out on the road. Miles Bridges has been insane. LaMelo Ball has been really good. Gordon Hayward's starting to figure it out, it seems. So at number 15, Charlotte Hornets, not a whole lot to say. At number 14, I have the LA Lakers. The LA Lakers have been real up and down this year. Russell Westbrook has been the most up and down player in the league. LeBron James has been dealing with injuries. Anthony Davis came out last night against the Minnesota Timberwolves and just said, hey, we suck. So they don't really suck, but they are underperforming for what they should be performing, which is like 1 through 5 on this power ranking. And right now I have them at 14. Spacing is lacking. Defensively, they're lacking. Anthony Davis has been a Defensive Player of the Year candidate so far. That will be in the podcast on Thursday. Shameless plug to the podcast, where we will be talking about awards on Thursday. So be sure to tune into that. Number 13, I have the other team from LA, the Los Angeles Clippers. Paul George is in an MVPG 13 mode this year. Reggie Jackson is filling out his point guard spot, and it seems like everyone else is kind of a win by committee team. Nicholas Batum, they are also dealing with injuries. Kawhi's been out for the whole year. Marcus Morris has been out for a substantial amount of time this year so far. Zubac has been putting in work. Just a kind of a win by committee team over there if your name is not Paul George. Everyone else is just seeming to do their part, and they've been on a real hot streak right now after being very disappointing through the first 5 games or so, which lands them at number 13. Number 12, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I was debating dropping them pretty low on this list with the news that Colin Sexton is out, but they just put up a pretty impressive win last night. So I'm going to have them at 12, and I think they will fall. I think they're going to be one of my big fallers in this video when I do it again in a month or two. I think they'll be pretty far down. But right now, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley look like the future for this team. Darius Garland has been that guy. So right now, I'll say they've been number 12, but I think they will be maybe 19 to 22 next time I do this video, which sucks because I want to see them be good. Number 11, the New York Knicks. RJ Barrett has been one of the most underrated players in the league this year. Julius Randle started out pretty slow, but I think he's going to start figuring it out here against the Charlotte Hornets. He started out pretty slow. Now, I know they lost that game, but they got up really early. Kemba Walker, my GOAT, Kemba Walker, had the best game of his New York Knicks career so far against his Charlotte Hornets. But they ended up losing. But I still think they deserve 11 just because of how good their defense has been. Mitchell Robinson has been that really good defensive anchor that they need. So the New York Knicks, I think, are pretty good 11. And I think they'll kind of stay around 11 to 15 throughout the rest of the year. At number 10, I have the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks just come off a really good win against the San Antonio Spurs, where KP and Luka had 30. Jalen Brunson has been making his Sixth Man of the Year candidacy run. I just think that this team needs to see if everyone else besides those 3 people can contribute what they need them to be contributing. And I think that's as good as this team goes. I think that the offense, if Luka and KP are figuring it out, which it seems like they have been, because ever since KP came back from the injury, he's been really good. Jalen Brunson, like I said, has been a Sixth Man of the Year candidate so far. So I think this team is as good as everyone else is, because we know how good Luka is. So that's why I have them at number 10, coming off pretty good win against the Spurs. Right now sitting at 4th in the West with a record of 8-4. So that, I don't think they're as good as the 8-4 record shows, but I will put them at number 10 until they prove to start losing a lot of games. At number 9, I have the Chicago Bulls. Now, they're firing on all cylinders right now. Vucevic will be out for a while, but even when he was playing, he wasn't the Vucevic that we've seen for the past 2-3 years. Zach LaVine has been Zach LaVine scoring. DeMar DeRozan is a certified bucket getter. Alex Caruso is in their candidacy for Sixth Man of the Year. Now he won't get it because the award is flawed, and I'll talk about that on Thursday. But he's still been super good defensively. I think he's leading the league in steals per game right now. So they're firing on all cylinders at the moment. At number 8, the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, they're missing Embiid right now. And ever since they've lost Embiid, they've been kind of on a little bit of a skid. But that's mostly because Embiid is out. And Embiid will be coming back pretty soon. And I think as soon as Embiid comes back, they will be coming back to the number 8 spot. So that's why I have them there. Now, Andre Drummond has been okay, but he kind of puts up empty stats. Now, I hate saying empty stats, but his rebounds and points seem to do nothing for a winning team. But I think as soon as the Embiid comes back, they'll be at the number 8 range. Utah Jazz, I have been coming at it number 7. They've been on a little bit of a skid the past few days. But, I mean, everyone seems to be figuring it out. Rudy Gobert's been good. Donovan Mitchell's been good. Jordan Clarkson has been incredibly inefficient. But last night, he kind of started to figure that out a little bit. And I think when he does start to get his efficiency back to where, we've known it has been for the past few years, I think this team will shoot up to like 1 through 5. At number 6, I have the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets right now are dealing with a little bit of injuries. Jokic got suspended for that one game for the Markieff Morris incident. Michael Porter Jr. is out for the foreseeable future. But Bones Highland has been a highlight for this team, and Will Barton has also been really good. And they're still able to string along some wins. And I still think they're still a really good team, which is why I have them here at the 6th spot. And now we are getting into our top 5. So at number 5, I have the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference according to standings, the Washington Wizards. Now, they're a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're as good as their record shows they are. Now, they've had a couple of pretty impressive wins, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think this team has what it takes to be competing when it comes to the playoffs in June. I just don't think the team has what it takes yet. So, that's why I have them at 5. They've been good so far, don't get me wrong, sitting at 9-3, first in the East. I just don't think they're better than the 4 teams that I have above them. And the 4 teams that I have above them are number 4, the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker's been figuring it out. Chris Paul has kind of shaken off his slow start, but they're on a 7-game winning streak right now. Hot as the sun. So I think the Phoenix Suns are going to be really good. I think they have been really good. So number 3, the Miami Heat are my 3rd best team. They've had a couple of puzzling losses. One to the Celtics when it seems like nobody could do anything. Kyle Lowry was bad. Duncan Robinson was bad. They've had a couple of losses like that, but they've been amazing defensively. And I think when everything starts to click and they get Jimmy Butler back, because Jimmy Butler's been dealing with injury, they will be the 3rd best team. And I still think they have been. I still think they've been really impressive. And I think they're the 3rd best team in the league right now, at least power rankings wise. So yeah, I'm not super confident in that one, but I still think their defensive impact with Bam and Jimmy and PJ Tucker, and then Tyler Hero coming off the bench averaging like 20 points on the most shots on the team has been really good for them. So number 3, I have the Miami Heat. Now at number 2, the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant has been an MVP candidate so far. James Harden has not been an MVP candidate so far, but he's been figuring it out these past couple of games after starting out super slow, not getting the foul calls. Now he's starting to get some more foul calls along the way. He's picking up his offense, and it's kind of starting to get going. They are the second highest. They're the second best team in the Eastern Conference as according to wins and losses, and I think they're the best team in the Eastern Conference in my eyes. I think they're better than the Washington Wizards, and I don't think it's particularly close. So the Brooklyn Nets are coming in at number 2 behind a KD MVP type year. Coming in at number 1, to nobody's surprise, the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors have the best offense in the league. They have the best defense in the league. And they have Steph Curry, which doesn't hurt. It's always nice to have Steph Curry. The Warriors' record is 11-1 with the second best offensive rating, the second best 3-point attempts at 42 a game, the most assists per game, the best true shooting percentage, the best net rating, the best defensive rating, the most steals. They're holding their opponents to 42% from the field and 31% from 3. They have just been lights out. Steph Curry's been MVP candidate so far. So, yeah, there was not really a surprise as to who number 1 was going to be so far. It has been the Golden State Warriors without Klay Thompson. And when Klay Thompson gets back, I only imagine what this team is going to do. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any concerns, any questions, let me know in the comment section. I'll try and get to them all. Actually, I will get to them all. Don't worry. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys Thursday for the podcast where we will do awards. So, see you guys then. Thank you.